So, it's been a while since I've sat down and chatted. I've been doing most of my personal stuff over within the game, really. Which is weird for me, but whatever. I just haven't had the kind of energy to want to put a video up of me. And pity of that is we've gone through some changes in my beard. I usually end up capturing as those go through. So I had the full burn sides going and whatever, and then that goes away and we get this guy. And somehow I like to do that. I don't know why, but this game that I'm playing, the Europa Universalis. Price of Power, which is derived from the computer game, more recent versions of the computer game, which have gone through several iterations, but originally was derived from a game that I very much liked before. And I'm having a good time with it. It's not bad. I just haven't really felt the desire to come up and chatter. To chatter without being surrounded by the game situation. Part of that's my addiction, whatever. But today I just put up a Facebook post. Ooh! Sometimes that's a means to really sort of hit a nerve within myself about something. And this is something that I probably toyed with before to talk about, which is the concept of live every day as if it's your last. Now, some months ago, there was a beautiful, beautiful autumn day, and that was the kind of feeling it brought to me, was this might be my last beautiful day, you know? Luck willing and all, which it wasn't. But yeah, and that feeling was so poignant and so strong. But it was neither a feeling of needing to seize the day, nor of any kind of, great sadness or whatever. There was neither happiness nor sadness particularly about it. There was kind of I should just kind of enjoy this beauty around me as much as I can and hope that it is indeed my last such day, because that'll mean that, I didn't make it that far. I didn't have to suffer too much more. I've been in a hell of a dark place, really, ever since I let this addiction take me over. And let is exactly what I did. But what I posted, because that has always struck me as a really weird thing to say. Like, it just didn't feel like it ever captured what it's meant to capture. Live every day as though it's your last. Well, so I started thinking about that more today, and that's what led to a little short quip of a post. What would that mean? I mean, I've always recognized that means there's no consequences, and you're probably going to fuck your life completely up if you do that. And I kind of did that during college for my first undergrad degree, or whatever. Like, I got the degree eventually, but I didn't get it, in the first few years, in the first 5 years or whatever. I ended up taking a bit of a break, because why? I don't recall exactly. I know there was a library book involved at one point that, I had to pay off a library fine to get back into school. It wasn't a huge fine. It was just, I had to. There was something missing. Something had gone missing. But that somehow, became the kind of delay, the kind of thing that prevented me from making that decision, which is good, because I don't ever make decisions if I can come up with some argument against. Which is why I'm here, right? So that's always been kind of on the back of my mind, is that like this isn't a, embrace it and do the things that you especially want to do or anything. And I started to realize more of why that is. So one is no fear of consequences, obviously, because if it's your last day, who the fuck cares? Now, if you're a psychopath or something, you might go out and commit some murders if that's how you believe things. But, if you're someone else, you might just drink all the time or whatever, Enjoy yourself to the fullest in that moment. Except there's more to it than that. And this may be peculiar to my way of thinking about things, but not only are there no consequences, there will be no memories in that case. And there is no hope anymore. So there's nothing to work towards. If things are that extreme, if it was my last day, well, I wouldn't be creating memories to enjoy in the future. I don't really enjoy living in the moment all that much. I can't think of many times when I really have. It's the memories that were always of value. Now, most of them are, not great. I mean, most of life is just not that good. and much of it is just bland, and who cares? What the fuck? That's not generating anything for you. But there are a few little glimpses of good memories. Then there are painful periods and whatnot, some of which you can end up treasuring, right? They can end up, and those are often things that I end up missing more than the good periods, because the good periods somehow don't burn as nicely. They don't create as good as strong a memory. Maybe that has to do with the way memory and emotion and pain all link together towards learning, and that wiring is different in me and maybe strengthens certain feedback cycles or whatever. But when I start thinking about what the fuck would I actually do if I knew it was my last day, how would I change anything? What would I do that was special? I have no I have no bucket list that I have to do before I die, right? I don't want to, I don't want to go to Disney World again particularly. There's nothing that I'm just like, oh, I have to do this for the experience alone, right? Not for the memories that the experience creates, because those are gone now. Those become unimportant if it's my last day. The only reason to do anything fun for me is two things. The memories that I create that I can look back on and enjoy later, which is odd that I don't like photos or anything. Like I just don't take them. But it's all up here. It's like, the combination of why I don't make movies or write books. It's all here already. I don't need to put it out there. And there's no hope. Quite often, the things that I do that maybe I enjoy in the moment or whatever, and I certainly do enjoy things in the moment. It's not like I don't. Like I enjoyed that fall day, I enjoyed it in the moment, but that's all I could possibly take from it at that time. Like, because there was no hope, and there was, obviously I do remember it, but I don't remember the pleasure of it, whatever that was, which I sometimes do, with less transient things, more. Yeah, I really wanted this, type of thing. But the hope aspect is often what has motivated me in the past. I just naturally don't want to go out for a walk or whatever, but I have some hope something interesting will happen. Something that I can build on. Something, like maybe I meet someone, or I don't know, maybe I have some thought that I wouldn't have had if I wasn't out on that walk. But that's all gone if it's living as if it's the last day. It's almost as if, and what I came to as a conclusion with all that was, if I knew something was my last day, I would probably just sleep. I would probably just say, fuck it. There's nothing. There's no value anymore, right? And that's one of the problems, the impermanence of actual, the impermanence that comes with our mortality is almost like, well, no matter what, in the end, it's not worth shit. Because I will no longer be to have these memories. I will no longer be to have things to build. There's no reason to build for things if I'm not going to be there in the end. And all the more so, it becomes so extreme when you realize, if you can define that, there will not be any other days to look back on and enjoy. And then when I started putting it that way, I realized, that's how I've been living these last couple of years, since my wife died. It's not like I had a whole hell of a lot of good memories that we were creating. The best ones probably came in kind of painful situations, because that's when, in a way, we were at our closest, was when she was the least comfortable. Not with me particularly, or at all, but with, like when there was noise in the place in Phoenix or in the place we moved to here, or I don't know, just a number of different situations where it was an uncomfortable enough situation. When the snowstorm came and we couldn't be in the house, we had to go down to the hotel. And a couple of other little special cases, all of which were kind of unpleasant for her, but they threw us more together and closer. And that was, in a way, the only time, or the only times that I really remember. And when I feel like we had anything, kind of like a real relationship. I don't know, because the rest of it is sort of comfort and all that, and it's just, now that's missing, and I can definitely tell that I'm missing it, but it's not it's not sharply defined like those things were. But yeah, that's really what the addiction is, in a sense. It's just saying, fuck it. I'm ready to get out of here. I haven't... There's a number of things. The one that I can definitely talk about is I have not made another appointment with the dentist. I have a cavity. It should be dealt with. I have something else that, can be dealt with too. But it's like, why fucking bother? I just want fucking out of here. I mean, I just want this to stop. And the best way, I don't know. And there's sort of this magical thinking, this hope that it just will. But I don't think it will. I think, I'm just stuck here for, I don't know, probably decades more. And I'm also left at the same time with this actuality of living life as though maybe this isn't my last day, but it's coming up on it. That I really expect and hope for things to just end for me very soon. Now, in all things with such magical thinking, I've always kind of the thing is, I don't want to make decisions and I don't want to take actions, right? And I don't want to somehow put a hand in on the whole thing or something like that. I don't know. And eventually, I come to a point where I'm ready to take that kind of drastic action like I did when I moved from Eugene down to Phoenix. It was just like, yeah, you know, I mean, what the hell? I need a job. I need to do something. I can't just sit here in this limbo state. And I'm kind of in this limbo state now. Um, there were a couple of times where I showed a glimmer of maybe being able to at least reconcile with the idea of making a choice. But I don't know, you know, I mean, it's just a matter of kind of getting a better and better understanding um, that a decision has to be made. A couple of weeks ago, I was, you know, but there it was the motion of desperation, and I don't know. Maybe that's the only way I can act. Maybe that's the only way I can act. That's kind of been the case in other situations. Is that like, yeah, you know, just fucking do it. You know, go for it, man. Hey, it's the Nike town, right? But yeah, and you know, hopes of this kind of magical sort just don't really do much, and they never really have, or almost never. And that's the tricky thing, is every now and then in my life, something has hit well enough, and that, you know, I may get lucky. I may, you know, have a fast acting cancer inside of me or something. Um, I wouldn't consider like getting hit by a truck or something lucky. It has to be here. It has to be up here on the hill. And yeah, I don't know why. Just I promised this would be the hill I die on. You know, they all you got to take those sayings for something important, right? And that's why I'm exploring this one, but that's why you have to explore all of them, because they may all have hidden meanings that are so much more important than any pathetic little life is. Anyway, cheers.